Hello, Peter Hitchener in 9 News at 6. How a 12-year-old saved his mother from their burning Melton home. Police praise for the boy. The woman taken to hospital for treatment, and tonight the latest on her condition.
Plus, a young boy saves his mother from their burning home in Melbourne. A 12-year-old boy is being hailed a hero after saving his hearing-impaired mum from a fire that destroyed their Melbourne home. He managed to wake her up, with the pair lucky to escape serious injury. Nine's Laura Turner has the details.
Well, this is a story of real heroism. This 12-year-old boy has woken his mother just in time as their home behind me was burning. Now, that mum and her son have run next door calling for an ambulance. This woman in her 40s was suffering burns to her back and her hands. Now, the home actually became something of a makeshift hospital. The neighbours there and paramedics were treating this woman for her burns in the bathroom. The young son also in shock as well, as their home was still burning.
Violently knocking on the door.
And what did she say?
She said, "Our house is on fire and we need to use your phone." She was in shock. She ended up sitting down here on the porch.
Now, this was an incredibly difficult fire to fight. There is a lot of junk and rubbish in the yard surrounding the home here, and the CFA says it was incredibly difficult to gain access.
The house has lots of stuff inside it, which makes exiting a building when it's on fire really, really dangerous and hard to do.
Now, this mother and her son are currently in hospital. She's receiving treatment for her burns at the Alfred and is in a stable condition at the moment. As for the neighbourhood here, well, they're still all in shock as to just how quickly this all unfolded here this morning.
A 12-year-old boy is being praised for his quick thinking after waking his hearing-impaired mother as their house was engulfed by flames. Authorities say hoarding made the house more difficult to flee. Michael Bennett reports.
The charred remains of where 12-year-old David Wojcik saved the life of his mum, Meg. The hearing-impaired 40-year-old was asleep inside when her son realised the house was on fire and woke her to escape. Eldest son Ben says she suffered burns to her back and neck and is currently undergoing surgery at the Alfred.
Obviously we're gutted about the loss, but at the end we also have each other.
Casey Jobe was the first on the scene and heard screaming from inside. She comforted Mrs Wojcik until paramedics arrived.
She showed me her back and it was all blistered and burnt, and her hair, and it was just pretty shocking.
Other neighbours also came to the aid of the distressed woman.
They asked to use our shower because 20 minutes of running water is needed for a burn.
Witnesses say it took only minutes before the house was engulfed.
It was intense. There was a lot of black plumed smoke. All the windows of the house were sort of blowing out.
Authorities are unsure how the blaze started, but say it wasn't suspicious.
It appears that it may have started in the ducting heating system. However, we need to wait for the fire brigades to conduct their assessment.
Neighbours say the family were known locally as hoarders. Authorities believe this may have hampered the woman's ability to get out of the burning house. It's likely the house will have to be demolished. Michael Bennett, 10 News.
A 12-year-old boy saves his hearing-impaired mum from a Melton inferno.
This is 9 News with Peter Hitchener.
Good evening. A 12-year-old boy has rescued his mother from their burning Melton home. Firefighters say the woman, who has a hearing disability, owes her life to her brave son. Laura Turner reports.
44 Quail Street burning. Flames licking at the roof just seconds after a young boy saved his mum. Firefighters racing around the edges of the property, battling to gain access. The home was an inferno. About 10 o'clock this morning, 12-year-old David and his mother Margaret were asleep when the boy smelt smoke. He woke his mum, who suffers a hearing disability, and they ran for their lives.
My mother was asleep. My brother David woke up and basically got her out of the house.
Probably saved his mum's life, yeah.
The house next door, a makeshift hospital, as neighbours treated the woman for burns to her back and hands.
She came violently knocking on the door.
And what did she say?
She said, "Our house is on fire and we need to use your phone." She was in a lot of pain.
All the while, firefighters fought a dangerous blaze.
The firefight here was incredibly difficult. All of the junk and rubbish in the yard was actually stopping the CFA from getting inside. All the while, they didn't know if anyone was trapped.
Luckily, no one was, but the fear then turned to the many pet cats and dogs at the property. In the end, they all escaped unharmed. They're pretty much all this family has left.
The house is gone. My parents are going to have to start again from scratch, but as I said, they're all alive and they'll welcome a second chance.
Live now to Laura Turner at the Alfred Hospital. Laura, what's the latest on the woman's condition?
Pete, she was having surgery on those burns late this afternoon. I'm told her son David is now by her bedside as she recovers tonight. She's said now to be in a stable condition. What's also heartening, Pete, is to see how many of the neighbours were rallying around this family this afternoon. There is a lot of support behind them, Pete.
Yes, thanks, Laura.